Whitehurst. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I'm the coordinator for the internship program at Multnomah County. David, Joshua, and Jason, could you please introduce yourself as well?
Hi, I'm David Carey. I use he, him, his pronouns as well. And I work in the chair's office. I do policy work and constituent relations work. I'm a recent grad of Reed, graduated last year. And I was a part of the College to County program for 2 years. So definitely excited to be here.
Hello, everyone. I'm Joshua Bates. I'm the equity manager at the Joint Office of Homeless Services, and I use he, him, and his pronouns. And our office is supporting 3 College to County internships this year.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jason Normand. I use he, him, his pronouns. I'm a research and evaluation analyst. Basically, that means I do a lot of surveys and focus groups and whatever project someone wants to throw at me. Basically, I'm your flex position. I work in the Department of County Human Services in the Division of Aging, Disabilities, and Veteran Services. So maybe I can elaborate on what all that means later. But welcome. And my team specifically has 1 College to County intern position. Thanks.
Hey, yeah, thank you. And if you all can hang with me just for a second, I'm going to do a screen share. And, you know, we honestly are so excited to have interns this summer at Multnomah County. And so if you would be willing to, in the chat or verbally, share what is your related field, the degree that you're pursuing. Let me see if I can skip ahead here. Nope, it's going to play music. Don't want music. Yeah, either in the chat or verbally, if you'd like to introduce yourself. We already know what school you're at, but the degree or minor that you're pursuing would be really helpful for us.
I'm Annika. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm pursuing a computer science degree.
Hey, thank you, Annika. Computer science, awesome.
I'm Isabel. I'm pursuing a degree in environmental studies and biology.
Very cool.
I'm Imani, and I use she, they pronouns, and I am majoring in Spanish and planning to get my undergraduate degree, or my master's in library information sciences.
Awesome. We have such a great library department. Very cool. All right. Are you all able to see yourselves in the screen share that I'm doing? I see Joshua's face. Can you give me a head nod, or can you see your own face? Isabel is saying yes. Sorry, I'm new to Zoom. We use Google Meets. You can see your own face?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I think that's better. And you know what? I apologize. I'm just gonna stop the screen share, and I think we're all just gonna have to look at each other for a second, just because I'm not used to the Zoom. But hey, thank you for joining today. You know, thank you for investing in yourself. Our program has been around for the last 10 years. It started in 2011. With the creation of this internship program at Multnomah County was, hey, we needed to diversify our staff because we're having a lot of staff leave, and also our workforce was not adequately representing the clients and the community that we serve. And so we've been leading with, hey, this is a great opportunity for college students with marginalized identities. So for instance, students of color, students from low income backgrounds, or different accessibility needs. And just a little bit about Multnomah County. I mean, you can definitely Google us and find out a whole lot of info, but we have usually about over 5,000 employees at Multnomah County. We have many departments. Within those many departments, and we have the sheriff's office, we have libraries, We repair all the bridges and roads. We have animal services. We inspect restaurants, assess property taxes, and that's actually how I got my first start, assessing property taxes in the assessor's office. I myself went to George Fox University, and I was the first intern in our Multnomah County Internship College to County program back in 2011. And then, as David had introduced himself, David was an intern for the past 2 years and is now a full-time regular status employee. There's been over 28 of us, 28 people who have participated in the internship program and then became regular status full-time county employees. There's been a lot more folks who have participated in our internship program and then was extended temporarily. And then you could imagine all the hundreds of folks who have participated if they didn't obtain employment with us immediately after, they were able to use that work experience to be successful elsewhere. Okay, let me see, I'm gonna go over some of my notes. We have some logistical information like pay. I think that's the biggest one. So let's just mention that right off the bat. This is a paid internship. The pay is base salary, so you do not receive medical benefits. I think that's a huge plus with working at Multnomah County. Our government organization is medical benefits, but over the course of the summer, you get paid. The average pay is around $20 an hour, but please reference all of the job descriptions on our website for what the pay is specific to your internship. You get paid twice every month, the last day of the month and the 15th of the month. And the duration is typically 12 weeks, but please see the job descriptions for what the durations are. I'm not quite sure when your school gets out. Could somebody in the chat or verbally say when your last, is it term or semester? The end date for read. And I apologize, but I'm not used to Zoom, so maybe I need to find the chat.
Oh, someone put oh yeah, Isabel put commencement is May 17th.
Okay, awesome. May 17th. Okay, cool. Yeah, when I went to George Fox, it was around late April, but we can, at Multnomah County, our applications for the internship program close on April 4th. And it would be possible that you could start as early as May, but it depends on our departments, the hiring managers, and yourself for when you're ready. We typically recommend, hey, please, if you start up the internship when you're done with school, so you focus on school and then start your internship. But it could be anywhere from May to June is when typically our interns start. Now I mentioned the application process and our county representatives, I see you. I'm just gonna mention just a few more things before we kind of get into the exciting work that we all do and projects that we have to offer. But in our application, we are only asking for your cover letter and for your resume. And please, you can apply up to 3 different internships, only 3 internships. You can only work 1 internship, but for each internship that you're applying for, please include a separate cover letter for each. Each internship description is different and they have different job duties and projects. So I think to best highlight yourself and to be successful in the application process, please use different cover letters and please use your support systems to review your cover letters and resumes, whether that's your career advisors here with us today, friends, parents. Maybe I'll let somebody else kind of speak to the recommendation. Oh, you know what we did on our website, Hayden, yep, we put your cover letter and resume toolkit that you had suggested. So that's on our website under the eligibility and recommendations. So please put, it's when you submit your application, if you were to submit it today, you would not be scored any differently than if you submitted it the same day or the day before applications close. Sorry, I threw a lot of information out there. Sorry. I'm just going to pause for a second to see if anybody has any questions. I have a few more application tips or recommendations. Okay, cool. All right, the application is a Google form. So are you all registered with Google through Reed? You have Google accounts? At Multnomah County, it's a cloud-based service. So for most of our departments, it's Google, but for the sheriff's office and our district attorneys, it is not. And in our application interview process, we will not be asking for reference letters or references. Once you submit your application, it's going to close on April 4th, and soon after April 4th, a recruiter for that respective department where you applied will contact you to let you know if you will be going forward with receiving an interview or not. We're recommending, our program is recommending that we just do 1 interview, 2 at the most, depending on how many candidates apply. But if you look at our website, and could we get a link into the website, or we can even afterwards, we can do a follow-up email with some of the different resources that's being mentioned today. Thank you. On our website, we have all the jobs listed out in a separate page. We have the application listed out in a separate page. We also have success stories on a separate page, and that's really cool to kind of get a feel for the impacts that internships can have on individuals or even on departments. And we do have another informational session coming up that we're hosting internally at Multnomah County next Thursday. And the last point that I'm going to make, so I can stop talking and we'll let some of the other folks share, is that what is really cool about our program is when you're with us, you're supported. You're matched up with a hiring manager who is culturally responsive or working towards being really culturally responsive. So early on, we really practice, hey, what are you looking to get out of the internship? What kind of networking, informational interviews, what kind of resources are you interested in to help further yourself? And on Wednesdays in the summer, we gather all of our interns together to do professional development trainings. We have different topics like how to navigate a dominant work culture, work environment at Multnomah County, being a government organization. We have some other fun topics like this year, our Reed college advisors had gracefully came in and taught us all about your personal narratives, right? How do you bring out your authentic self, building up confidence in our folks. And so that's extremely exciting. I think it's more fun being able to relate with each other as peers, like, oh, what kind of work are you doing? It will be virtual. Most of our work this year will be virtual, and we're going to do our best to try to have some on-site job shadowing or job training opportunities. But the situation that we're in at Multnomah County is primarily virtual. Okay, in the chat, what makes for a strong application? What should students anticipate for the structure of the interview? Oh, hey, you're all good. Yeah. So I think a strong application is clear and relevant you use, I would actually, we have some folks, well, I think Joshua, you and Jason, you may be on the interview panel, so please jump in. But I think what's really important is that if the job is asking for, hey, adequate customer service skills, you'll see that bullet point in the job description. Well, instead of just saying, I'm good at customer service, state why, or give life examples. It could be work examples, it could be lived examples, but how have you demonstrated that you would do well in a customer service role? So please use life, work, lived experience examples. Joshua, David, or Jason, do you have any tips for the interview process?
Yeah. I guess I can have a couple tips. I think that what you talked about, Cole, in terms of authenticity is important, right? And then also drawing on the sum total of your background, right? Like, I would imagine that many of you have limited work experience, but that isn't necessarily a detriment to the process. Y'all have a wealth of experience in your personal lives, in school, in your community, all of those things that you can draw upon and use in the interview. And I think that that's really, really crucial. And I would also imagine too that, I think that would be the one piece of advice. I don't want to dominate all this space, so I'll let the other folks answer.
I can go. I think what Cole and Joshua said would be the most important thing from my perspective as well. One thing I would add, this may be more specific to just when you're applying to jobs or this internship at public organizations like Multnomah County, is you have access to a lot of information about the organization online. Like, you can go to our website. This might seem really boring, but our budget documents, which are public, contain a ton of program information about like how the programs and departments and everything works, different initiatives that are going on, all that stuff that can give you really good context into like mission, vision, and values, as well as just all the things that, they might be looking for, the different kind of X factors. And I think if you can demonstrate that you took that extra step to do that kind of research, and where you can plug into things that are already happening or needs that you might see, I think that can really make an application stand out or stand out in an interview. So I would encourage you to do that. And you're welcome to, I don't know, Cole, if our emails will be accessible, but if anybody wants to reach out, and I can explain a little bit more about where you can look for that kind of information.
Yeah,
but I know you're Reed students, so you're good at finding information.
Absolutely. Yep. Already found some right there. Yeah, we can give out information about the roles and responsibilities of the job, but we could not review cover letters or resumes. David, would you like to share anything?
Yeah, I think not to be a broken record, but largely to reinforce what's been said already. I do think one thing that I think Josh talked about as really important is to really center your values and who you are and be authentic in the application process. I think particularly the last internship position I had last summer, I did something that was fairly different from what was actually discussed initially in the internship topic. And I think that was because I applied my own interests and skill sets to what they were talking about and made sure that it was relevant. And it was something that spoke to the mission of what the department was trying to do. And I think it's something that's important, not that you should just completely ignore what the job description says, but I think as long as you're within the bounds of it, really making sure that you are articulating why this connects to who you are and not trying to form to what you think the job necessarily is trying to have you be, is something that's really important. And you have that authenticity, it comes across, and it's something that I think is a really positive thing.
Hey, thank you, David. Jason, Joshua, yep.
So if I could add one more thing, also communicating in interest and value in growing and learning. I think that's really powerful. I mean, when I applied to the job that I have, I would say I was not the most qualified position or person for the position, but I was told that, something that set me apart was, it was very clear that I was willing to learn and take up projects that even if I didn't know how to do, I was going to do my best to figure out how to do it. And so I would say if ever there's maybe something on a position that maybe you don't feel like you necessarily have that qualification for it or have like a strong existing skill set, pivoting that to like you're excited at the opportunity, you want to learn and you have the tools to learn, which is the most important thing at the end of the day. So leveraging that about yourself can go a long way as well.
Jason, I swear this is the truth, but you stole some of my thunder. That was going to be my comment is we have over 35 positions right now at the county, internships that we're recruiting for. And a consistent theme with our hiring managers is, hey, we just want somebody who's eager to learn. Like, we understand that you're a college student. You don't have a decade of work experience. Just come in, be reliable, show up, eager to learn. And you just heard it, straight from Jason, who potentially you would be working with. Is they just want somebody with that curiosity. And we're all really excited to have new perspectives. We want to hear what you have to share. And to my last point, yeah, exactly. We're eager to mentor you 100%. But so at last point, and then jobs you all are offering our county representatives, but Multnomah County is public service, it's civil service. And so in the application process, I think it's extremely relevant to mention any community service that you have done or your interest in helping out our community. We don't receive commission, and this is truly about helping the folks that our community and the people that we live with. Okay, Jason, Joshua, and David, I'm not sure of what your time considerations are, but do any of you want to go first, just in case you had to leave soon? And we'll just virtually look at each other for a second.
All right, I'll just ask, I wasn't quite sure what the expectations were. Is it for like advertising our position, or I don't know, if you could set the stage or the context a little bit, what's appropriate, I don't know. I'm doing this a little bit haphazardly.
Okay, yeah, no, okay, thank you, Jason.
My apologies.
I am going to, in the chat, list, well, Jason, can you, your position, it's, what's the title of your position that we're offering?
Sure.
I can also.
Sure. How about this? I'll go first, and it can be kind of like a call and response system, and then you can coach me as I go through, and I'll be the case study here for this. So again, my name is Jason. So I would be the mentor for a position in the Department of County Human Services. So under that header. There's a position called, sorry if I'm not looking directly at you, I'm looking at one of my other screens.
Don't worry.
But I think
I posted a link all to the list of all the internships so students can look at the description as you go along.
Thank you. And in the chat right below that post, we have Jason's department and position.
So the position I'm representing is the Quality and Business Services Office Assistant position. And so if you open that up and look at it, I would be the mentor. Jacob Messman, who is listed as the supervisor, would be kind of the hiring manager. So I would be more your kind of day-to-day coach, the person who would be working on the project with you and and Jacob would be kind of performing that more HR management role, even though you'll have a lot of interaction with our team members. The reason I actually wanted to make an effort to come here is that if you read our position description, for transparency's sake, I'll say that we kind of made a general office assistant position that kind of covered a lot of general bases on potential roles and duties that would be flexible, because we hadn't completely nailed down what project we wanted our intern to focus on at the time. However, we're a little further along, and so I wanted to, even though this might represent some of the kind of stretch or ad hoc assignments that you might do, the goal of our internship, the bulk of the work would actually be about kind of doing an assessment, information gathering and assessment of our entire division's community engagement processes. And Cole, I don't know if it's okay, I just prepared a quick couple slides that I can show to elaborate on that a little bit. Is it okay if yeah, thumbs up? Okay. So that, as Cole said, we're all adherents to Google Meets and not Zoom, but I will present my screen. There we go.
I feel like even the people who use Zoom every day, like Reed College, like I feel like there are still days where I'm like, what do these buttons do?
So I hope, oh, here, let me switch to present. All right, I'm sorry if this text is a little bit small. Some of these are just pictures of different things that I threw together. But basically in our division, I'm part of the team. It's called Quality and Business Services. So we kind of perform administrative functions that kind of cross over across the division. And our team kind of concentrates a lot of the, what we call quality improvement, data and analytics, and research and evaluation. And I represent the kind of research and evaluation portion of that. We have a division-wide group called Quality Council that is intended to kind of steer and structure a lot of the quality improvement processes that we do. One such project that was kind of organized but really needs an intern to drive forward is this kind of assessment of our participant engagement. We use the term participant to kind of mean like people that we serve, people who receive services. You might hear them referred to as clients or consumers. Our preferred term is participant. So we have this project to gather all the different processes that we use to interact with community, whether it's to get input or whether to give them decision-making power in how we plan our services. And so the project would essentially be going out to the stakeholders in our division, internal, hopefully as well as external, and learning about the different ways in which they gather input or interact with the community. Everything from, a kind of ad hoc survey that goes out to something like an advisory council, asking questions about those and gathering information, and then writing kind of little process briefs that explains what the process is and kind of hits certain key questions, mapping all those out with a mapping software that we have. I'll show you a quick example of what that might look like. And then hopefully using that kind of, I guess, picture of where we stand to kind of do an assessment and categorize these different engagement processes. And right now we're thinking about using a tool that was created by King County about a decade ago. King County is where Seattle is, I think. And we look to them a lot for influence and guidance because they are, kind of the other major metropolitan county. And so using this kind of framework to assess our different community engagement processes, and if time permits, hopefully you can play a role in kind of the planning and development of a framework for moving forward on how we might improve these engagement processes, kind of drive them further forward from where we just kind of seek input maybe, and then we take it and run with it and do our government thing of just moving forward, to engagement processes that are, what you might call more real engagement, where we reach out to the community, we gather input, we maintain a dialogue, we give them actual decision-making power, things like that. So hopefully this gives kind of an idea of what that project might look like. This kind of blue is really what we would hope the intern that works with us would help us accomplish. And then the rest is aspirational or work that would carry forward based on the work that you might do. So this is just kind of an idea of what a map might look like. I know it's too small to read, but it would have kind of our division, the different major programs, and where these different engagement processes are. And then each one would have a little brief that explains how it works. And this is a quick example of that King County assessment tool, how we might look at these and how you might be expected to look at these. And we'll hope actually that as an intern, you might be able to play a role in kind of updating and adapting this tool, because we felt that the tool, it mentions, advancing equity and social justice, but we felt that it maybe lacked an element of racial equity in particular. So we would like to center that more in our tool and how we assess our participant engagement processes. So yeah, this is kind of an example of what that framework looks like right now and what we might be building off of. So I think that's it. I guess I'll just highlight here what I came up with kind of on the spot while this meeting started. But our hope is just that you'll be able to learn about the division really broadly instead of being kind of placed in a program doing really program specific work. But it's an opportunity to learn kind of what our division does across the board, who we're serving and how we're interacting with communities. And then really helping us by gathering all those input processes and putting them into one place that's easy for us to access, and then plan future projects and advance that whole body of work under a more cohesive framework. And then some of these other things I realize are a little bit more specific, but we have some other projects that might connect with this. So that this would be the primary project. I'll stop sharing here. There we go. So yeah, we're thinking this would be the primary project, but wouldn't cover all of the many duties that you would have and opportunities. We want to shape the internship to what you're interested in and what you need. And so you'll have a lot of time to tap into other things that are happening around you. But this might be kind of the central project we hope to work around. So more than the duties of an office assistant. But yeah, just wanted to provide that kind of extra explanation of those things cover it, what's in the position description, but this is kind of the intended project that we would have that's not covered in that position description. So I'll stop. I think I went for quite a while, actually. I'm happy to answer questions, or Cole can critique and others that follow can give a better presentation. But anyway, yeah. Thank you for everybody's time.
Amazing. Thank you, Jason. And Joshua and David, I hope you have your PowerPoints ready. We're ready to go. That's awesome. Thank you, Jason. Last year, our intern who was with Jason had felt so supportive, so engaged with the work that they were doing, connection to community. That's what it's really all about. And I think, Jason, thank you for demonstrating that. It's a much bigger system, and we try to do our part, but you'll be supported 100% by our staff, by our managers to kind of walk you through the process. That's awesome. And David, I know that last year, and you had just mentioned in the chat that there was kind of a project that was in mind that the group thought they had in mind, but then they kind of adapted to something that was kind of more in line with your interests.
Yeah, so last year I interned with the Office of Sustainability and the Office of Government Relations, which are two of the non-departmental offices that are kind of under the chair's umbrella broadly. And their program was kind of combined around policy and doing other field work that was more technical in nature, which I was a history major. Math scares me. I don't know how to do anything like that. So I really focused heavily on the policy aspect of it and spoke about that mostly in my interview. And they ended up kind of cutting all the technical aspects of the internship and allowing me to just purely do policy work. So I think I certainly made sure to answer the questions and made what I think was probably a relatively feeble attempt at showing that I could do that aspect. So I certainly didn't ignore it. But yeah, I think really demonstrating your strengths is something that is important. And if we want, I can go into talking about the chair's internship position now. Yeah, so the chair's office is hosting one intern this year. If you go to that page that was linked, it's right at the top. It's the first one. If you want to kind of read along. So a bit about the chair. The chair, Deborah Kafori, it's an elected position. She's the chief executive officer of the county, is in charge of kind of overseeing parts of the budget. She puts together an executive budget that's then somewhat debated by the other commissioners and eventually will turn into the county's budget, and is also in charge of setting the strategic policy direction of the county. And so it's a really interesting, really dynamic office. And our internship this year is actually really heavily based upon my internship last year. Is a policy-oriented internship. And it's not really particularly strict in its parameters. We have some rough project areas that we're interested in, having an intern work on COVID recovery, issues related to either community justice or the criminal legal system, community engagement, and we also have some opportunities for communications and social media. We're really more interested in finding the right intern who we think is going to, I think kind of exhibit some of those qualities that we spoke about earlier. And we'll make sure that we can then fit the position to them. So I think that's something that's really important to note if this is something that you're interested in applying to. As far as the policy work itself goes, we're expecting that you will have a mentor who's a policy advisor on the staff. That's going to largely depend on what area you're interested in. The chair has, I think, 13 people on staff, and I will also be involved. I'm not quite senior enough to be a mentor, but I will certainly be there to help and learn alongside you if you do decide to apply. And beyond that, we're expecting it to have some loose structure. We'd like you to produce a series of policy memos and reports and kind of keep up an engagement with the chair's staff about the work that you're doing. And ultimately, we'd like to have that turn into a presentation to the staff in which you give policy recommendations in your area where you think the chair should direct the county's policy. So I think it's really exciting because it is very much so supported yet open-ended enough to where you can really delve into your interests and try and shape what the county is doing as a governmental organization. And I think that's a really cool thing. And the office as a whole is incredibly excited about it. This is the first time that the chair's office will have an intern. So I think we're all ready to have that kind of spark of energy in the office. Something that we're really, really looking forward to emphasizing is the networking and community building aspect of it. By virtue of working in the chair's office, you're going to be interconnected to the rest of the county, people working in different departments or offices, people working at the city level, people working at Metro, people working at the state or federal level. You'll really have an opportunity to interface with really anyone who you are interested in meeting. And I think that's a really powerful tool. On the one hand, for if you do want to work with the county, then you'll have made really wonderful connections, but you're also have the ability to make connections to different community members and people who are working in community groups who are doing similar kinds of work to the county, who the county frequently partners with. So I think it really helps expand your job prospects moving forward. There are a lot of really wonderful organizations in the Portland area who we can certainly help connect you with. And so I think that's a big aspect. The chair's office is also very much interested in centering all of this policy work around racial equity specifically, but also broader equity agenda at large, obviously very concerned with issues of gender equity and socioeconomic equity. And I think that's something that is really special about the chair's office that I've seen in the last 7 months, I think I've been working here, is the fact that that's something that is really core and central to the way that we think about policy. And I think it's certainly not something that's just like lip service being paid, but it's actually something that we make sure that community members have input on policy ideas and development at every stage of the process. And I think that's something that you can certainly be involved with as well. And so, sorry, I'm just kind of freeballing about what this internship is, but I think that mostly covers what we're going to be doing. And yeah, I'm definitely excited. I think I'll be on the interview panel. So hopefully I'll see some of y'all, but I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Hey, thank you, David. I would have to say that David, along with a few others, created this opportunity. Something that's been shared with us before is, hey, like systems, sometimes, systems themselves don't create opportunities, people do. And like David and potentially like yourselves, thank you, David. We're just all excited for your perspectives, your policy research to help inform our county leaders for the really important decisions we have to make soon.
Okay, I'm guessing it's my turn now. Oh, that's a lot to follow. Okay, so I don't have a presentation and I don't know necessarily, I'm going to do my best to just sort of give an overview of the work that the Joint Office does and the 3 different positions that are coming out of the Joint Office. So the Joint Office of Homeless Services was developed or created in 2016 to oversee the delivery of homeless services in Multnomah County. It's actually a joint partnership between the city of Portland and Multnomah County. We're kind of a unique office in that way. Essentially, we work for both the city and the county. So your internship would be with the county, but we also have relationships with the city. And the mission of our office is effectively to end homelessness. We believe homelessness is solvable. We don't think that it's something that just is. It's actually something that was created through the mechanisms of poverty and racism. And the way that we do that actually is through the administration of our different systems. We have multiple different systems at the Joint Office. There's a system for folks that are adult that are experiencing homelessness. There's a system for folks that have experienced DV or sexual assault. There's a system for families that are experiencing homelessness, and there's a system for youth that are experiencing homelessness. And through the administration of these different systems, we actually fund different organizations within these systems and co-create strategies within these systems to impact and end homelessness within those different systems. So we are primarily actually a funder. We fund different organizations, but in that funding, we work hand in hand with those organizations through our different systems to create strategies and solutions that really meet the needs of our community. Another key component of the work that we do is that we believe racism is a core driver of homelessness, irrespective of the community that you're in, whether it's Multnomah County, whether it's Los Angeles, whether it's Columbus, Ohio, where I moved from, or New York City. You're going to see drastic racialized disparities in homelessness. And that's because across systems, right, whether it's education, whether it's healthcare, whether it's criminal justice, racism is built into those systems and impacts folks' life chances. So when you look at homelessness, you have to think about all of those different systems and also the histories within those systems that have created this constellation across our country and in our community where people of color are drastically overrepresented in homelessness. So with that being said, and especially if you look at the particularities of Oregon, where people of color weren't even allowed to live here, and you look at the ways that gentrification has manifested generation over generation in this community, you can see why why it's so important to focus on racism. As I said earlier, I'm the equity manager at the Joint Office. The work that I do is enmeshed in this work when it comes to eliminating racial disparities in homelessness. So when I'm talking about eliminating homelessness in our community, we have to use an equity lens and center racial equity and racial justice in that work. So as I said, we are actually administering 3 different positions in our office, and all of them would be located underneath the umbrella of the equity team. The 3 different equity team positions is there's one for community engagement, there's one for digital equity, and there's one for just a broad equity and inclusion internship. The 3 different, and as you know, as the other panelists, actually we're not panelists, as the other participants said, this is really about enriching and allowing folks to grow into the things that they're interested in. So I have things in mind, and our team has things in mind with each of those, but there will be a degree of flexibility and discretion based on your own interests. So when it comes to the community engagement internship, the Joint Office of Homeless Services also administers our community's initiative to end homelessness. It's called A Home for Everyone. I'll drop a link in the chat later so folks can look at it. But basically what it is it's a massive structure of people, stakeholders across the stakeholders in homelessness and homeless services, from elected officials, elected leadership. Our chair is actually a member of our executive committee, as is the mayor. There's also leaders from nonprofits in the initiative. And there's also folks with lived experience of homelessness, or people that are currently experiencing homelessness. It's this massive stakeholder engagement structure that is focused on ending homelessness, but it also is actually the mechanism with which we receive federal funds. So it's not just for the sake of community engagement, it is actually creating policy recommendations that the city and the county implement to administer funding. So one of these internships will be working hand in hand with the person that is full-time staff on that initiative to influence and impact equity in the initiative. Because as I said, if we're talking about centering racial equity, we really have to think about the tangible structures that we're implementing to do those things, and especially in this initiative to end homelessness. So this will be primarily almost a public-facing role. You'll be going to the different work groups, you'll be going to the different committees, and you'll really be supporting our work around equity and community engagement in the initiative to end homelessness. The other, the digital equity internship is, I'm not a computer science major as Anika is. I'm not. That's not my domain, right? I don't know the first thing about some of this stuff. I can Google pretty well, but that's about it. But really, what we were thinking about is, especially as we are expanding as an office, because our office is expanding year after year after year to meet the need in our community. We're trying to think about how to create a digital repository or a website of some sort that is really about the equity work that our office is doing, but also supports the equity work that we're doing. So it's really about creating some sort of mechanism, a digital mechanism, to sort of disseminate equity across not just our office, but also the different systems that we fund. So it's really about creating some sort of digital repository is what I'm calling. It could be a website. It could be something else. Like I said, I'm not an expert in that. I'm sure that the person that interviews and ends up going into that position is the expert in that. And then finally, we have this equity and inclusion internship. And this position would really be working with me all the time. And what this position is going to do is do research on both homelessness and racism, and create a training that talks about how those things are intermeshed, and create recommendations on how to eliminate racism in homelessness and how to address those things. So this is about really creating a training, and at the end of the internship, what we're imagining is that you would administer this training to our staff and to our partners, and then also this would become a permanent training and a permanent part of our office. So those are really the 3 different opportunities. And as I said, all of this is underneath this umbrella of understanding homelessness as being something that is solvable. It is a creation that has come out of the mechanisms of racism and poverty that exist in this country, but also making sure to prioritize racism and eliminating racism in all of the things that we do as an office. So like I said, I don't have a presentation, and I just kind of honestly was just okay, Josh, what are the different points I want to touch on? So that's those are the 3 different internships that we're administering in our office. As I said, I'll actually drop the website right now so y'all can see about a little bit more about our work. Here you go. That is about a home for everyone. That's our community's initiative to end homelessness. I should have explained it a little bit better, but I keep looking at the time and it makes me feel like I have like 5 minutes to finish. Anyways, if y'all have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me also at joshua.bates@multco.us. But also we have 7 more minutes. So if y'all have any questions right now, feel free to ask. Thank you for your time. I really look forward, I'm really excited that y'all are actually here listening to the work that we do and that you've opened up space for us to discuss this work. I think whether it's me or Jason or David, all of us are very passionate about the work that we do. And regardless of where you go and what internship you apply to, I have no doubt that you'll be supported to achieve the things that you want to achieve. It's not about what we want to achieve with the positions, it's things that you want to achieve as, experts that are, coming out of or experts in experts in the things that you're interested in and experts in the things that you would like to see out of your lives. So I just thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Joshua. Absolutely amazing. One of our county slogans is "This work matters." I think that absolutely has shown through Jason, David, and Joshua. This work truly does matter. In the chat here, we have a few questions. A direct message that was received about engineering. I would just like to share that, hey, if you don't see your specific interest and passion in any of these internships, well, for instance, like let's say engineering, that is pretty specific. Well, in the past, we've had engineering interns. At Multnomah County, we have a large group of classifications that is engineering that takes care of our roads, bridges, and a number of different facility like building items. And so think about this, like if you can get your foot in the door somewhere that may have some relevant job experience, so you can build up some of your strengths or bolster some of your weaknesses. While you're here at Multnomah County, your foot's in the door, we're going to connect you with those engineering folks, do some informational interviews. Absolutely.
For this internship, I think you said it was going to be remote. Does that mean that you don't have to be in Oregon? Because I'm going to be in California in the summer.
You physically have to be in Oregon. Our county employees are not allowed to work out of state. And so for our temporary employees, we're saying that physically you have to be in Oregon. And there's a couple of different factors with that. But I think one of the more straightforward factors is your first day of work, you show up to fill out human resource paperwork, employment paperwork. You'll get your county issued laptop or county issued cell phones, any kind of technical equipment that you may need. And then there may be some work job experience that's on site or community outreach events that our hiring managers would like for our interns to participate in. But then in a much larger scope of things, all Multnomah County employees right now are required to be physically in Oregon and not allowed to work out of state.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So when David was talking, he mentioned an Office of Sustainability, but I'm not seeing any internships listed under that office. Is that just like this year they didn't want any interns, or?
They absolutely, thank you for that question. This year they did want interns. They absolutely did. David had an amazing experience with them this last year. In previous years, they had interns, but this year, just with the timing and also some legislative pieces, just with the volume of work, it just wasn't going to work out. But that office has been historically committed to internships and going forward. And then again, kind of like that engineering example, if you get your foot in the door at Multnomah County, those folks in the Office of Sustainability 100% would love to meet with you, would love to help you in your professional journey.
Yeah, to shamelessly self-promote again, if you get that chair's office internship, John, who's the director of the Office of Sustainability, is a member of the chair staff. And so you'd see him at every meeting, and you definitely have the opportunity to have a lot of one-on-ones with him, and definitely explore those interests in policy if that is something that you wanted to do. So that's another kind of side way to maybe get a little more sustainability expertise.
Cool, thank you.
This took literally the perfect amount of time. Thank you all for sharing. I'm really excited about this program. I love that equity is brought into all of the different internships in different ways. I think that's something our students are always thinking about, and equity is kind of at the intersection of all their other interests. So I hope to my students, you all found this interesting and valuable. I just wanted to stop and make sure. So did all you folk from the county have a chance to post your emails? Hi, Dion. Emails. So I'm sure students would love to be able to follow up. Thank you.
We will post our emails, and also would it be possible for us to receive the emails of your students who were with us today, and then I can send a follow-up email that you feel free to everybody, and then feel free to use for other READ students?
Yeah, I can definitely, I can collect all the emails and just send you all one big email with Cole CC'd. I also recorded this session, so I'm actually going to stop recording now.